According to Pew Research Center, 84% of the world's people identify with a religion. Many of these faiths have stood the test of time and are rooted in centuries-old historical tradition. However, one very prominent religion was created just 60 years ago. Yes, I'm talking about Scientology, founded by none other than science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard. But not every member of the Hubbard family is a member of the church. His great-grandson, Jamie DeWolf, is actually one of the most outspoken critics of what he calls a cult.
L. Ron was actually, oddly, one of my greatest inspirations when I was a kid because he was a writer, and he was a science fiction writer. And even as a young kid, I was given a lot of his books for Christmas and stuff like that, of his volumes, and of Mission Earth in particular. And as a little kid, I was like, this guy is a badass. You know, he has all these covers of guys with machine guns and laser guns and, you know, rocket ships. And it was, I grew up Baptist Christian, hilariously enough. And I actually had to learn who L. Ron Hubbard really was.
Lafayette Ronald Hubbard, better known as L. Ron Hubbard, and often referred to by his initials LRH, was an American pulp fiction author and the founder of the Church of Scientology. After establishing a career as a writer, becoming best known for his science fiction and fantasy stories, he developed a self-help system called Dianetics, which was first expounded in book form in May 1950. He subsequently developed his ideas into a wide-ranging set of doctrines and rituals as part of a new religious movement that he called Scientology. His writings became the guiding texts for the Church of Scientology and a number of affiliated organizations that address such diverse topics as business administration, literacy, and drug rehabilitation.
He had many enemies. Wasn't L. Ron Hubbard a science fiction writer? Yes, but he was also a prophet who knew the secret truth about the nature of life.
This is just too much.
We want to reveal to Stan the great secret of life behind our church, the safely guarded Scientology doctrine. Please, your son deserves to be enlightened. Stan, do you want to hear the great secret doctrine of life behind Scientology?
Sure.
All right, go ahead and tell him. Would you excuse us, please? This is highly classified church information. Oh, rats. Usually to hear the secret doctrine, you have to be in the church for several years, Stan. Are you ready to hear the truth?
I guess.
You see, Stan, there is a reason for people feeling sad and depressed. An alien reason. It all began 75 million years ago. Back then, there was a galactic federation of planets, which was ruled over by the evil Lord Xenu. Xenu thought his galaxy was overpopulated, and so he rounded up countless aliens from all different planets, and then had those aliens frozen. The frozen alien bodies were loaded onto Xenu's galactic cruisers, which looked like DC-8s, except with rocket engines. The cruisers then took the frozen alien bodies to our planet, Earth, and dumped them into the volcanoes of Hawaii. The aliens were no longer frozen, they were dead. The souls of those aliens, however, lived on, and all floated up towards the sky. But the evil Lord Xenu had prepared for this. Xenu didn't want their souls to return, and so he built giant soul catchers in the sky. The souls were taken to a huge soul brainwashing facility, which Xenu had also built on Earth. There, the souls were forced to watch days of brainwashing material, which tricked them into believing a false reality. Xenu then released the alien souls, which roamed the Earth aimlessly in a fog of confusion. At the dawn of man, the souls finally found bodies which they could grab onto. They attached themselves to all mankind, which still to this day causes all our fears, our confusions, and our problems.
Yes, so if you can believe it, what you just watched is what Scientologists actually believe and teach their members. Now, I'm not going to delve into all the details of this philosophy because, as you should have already noticed, it's nothing but a bunch of sci-fi galactic BS, and you will definitely be driven mad trying to make sense of it. But what else would you expect from a religion whose author is a bugged out sci-fi writer. Now what I can tell you is that I learned that Scientology revolves around money, and to be a member you must be paid and paid a lot. Those are the type of members they seek out. Scientologists teach that humans are infected with aliens known as body thetans, and in order to be clear to them, members have to go through something called auditing. Auditing involves the use of a device called an e-meter, which detects the level of these beings inside of them, similar to Egon's PKE meter in Ghostbusters. During auditing, the victim is asked a multitude of personal questions which reveal detrimental secrets of their lives and negative past experiences, which are said to be as a result of these thetans inside of them. It is basically a mass psychotherapy session used to extract personal secrets and thoughts from the individual. These secrets can and will be used against them if they ever decide to leave the church. This is a Masonic tactic similar to the Skull and Bone Society, and in Scientology, it is called fair game, meaning if you ever leave our church, you will be sorry. Each audit costs hundreds to thousands of dollars and continues for multiple sessions until the e-meter detects the victim is cleared, or in other words, the victim has revealed all their secrets. These secrets are all jotted down by the auditor and kept on file in case of later use. The person is then referred to as a clear. By this time, the clear has spent thousands of dollars. Once a person becomes clear, prices get even more expensive as they now must be audited past clear to get to even higher levels of OT, or what they call an operating thetan. A thetan is equivalent to your spirit or your soul. The teaching is that the person's actual thetan or spirit can be reached once they are cleared. Once a person is cleared, they can now focus on their own thetan or their spirit and become to the knowledge of self. There are different levels of OT which promise progressive levels of spiritual power. To learn the galactic BS, for example, shown in the South Park episode, a member must first become an OT3, which costs over $10,000 to attain. And I wouldn't be hesitant to say that I'm being extremely conservative with the price. Scientologist Tom Cruise is said to be an OT7, which would have cost him well over $100,000 to attain. The knowledge of self seems to be a shared perspective, not only by Scientologists, but also among free thinkers, Egyptologists, 5%ers, and alike. To find out what the knowledge of self means, let's go to L. Ron Hubbard's source of inspiration.
So be my grave without a name, that earth may swallow up my shame.
Aleister Crowley, the man who called himself the Beast 666, black magician, drug fiend, sex addict, and traitor to the British people.
I want none of your faint approval or faint dispraise. To hell with Christianity, rationalism, Buddhism. I want blasphemy, murder, rape, revolution, anything bad or good, but strong.
In 1920, Aleister Crowley founded a commune in Sicily to practice the beliefs that he said would one day sweep away Christianity and free men from all restriction and repression. 3 years later, Mussolini deported Crowley and his followers from Sicily after reports of human and animal sacrifice and unimaginable sexual depravity caused an international scandal. The British press called Crowley the wickedest man in the world.
Aleister Crowley, born Edward Alexander Crowley. He is primarily known for his occult writings and teachings. He founded the religion of Thelema, which became adopted by the Ordo Templis Orientis, as well as the magical order of Argenteum Astrum, the Order of the Silver Star. He was also a highly controversial member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, where he was known by the magical name of Frater Perdurabo. Crowley's lifestyle was absolutely shocking in the era in which he lived, because his interest in the occult, he was sexually promiscuous with both genders, at a time when homosexuality was still illegal in Britain, frequented prostitutes, was vocally defiant against Christianity and Victorian and post-Victorian prudishness towards sexual subjects, and was a drug addict. While Crowley detested Christianity, he considered himself an immensely religious and spiritual person. His writings record incidents of experiencing deity, and Thelemites consider him to be a prophet. In 1904, he encountered a being known as Aiwass, described as a minister to Horus, the central deity in Thelema, and as a holy guardian angel. Aiwass dictated the Book of the Law, which Crowley wrote down and published, becoming the central Thelemic text. Crowley's beliefs included pursuing the great work, which included gaining self-knowledge and uniting with the large universe. He also encouraged seeking out one's ultimate destiny or purpose, commonly referred to as one's true will. Thelema, also pronounced Thelema, is primarily a philosophical law which has been adopted as a central tenet by some religious organizations. The law of Thelema is do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. The law of Thelema was developed by Aleister Crowley, the early 20th century British writer and ceremonial magician. He believed himself to be the prophet of a new age, the Aeon of Horus, based upon a spiritual experience that he and his wife Rose Edith had in Egypt in 1904. By his account, a possibly non-corporeal or praetor human being that called itself Aiwass contacted him and dictated a text known as the Book of the Law, or Liber Alvel Legis, which outlined the principles of Thelema. An adherent of Thelema is a Thelemite. The Thelemic pantheon includes a number of deities, primarily a trinity adapted from ancient Egyptian religion, who are the three speakers of the Book of the Law, Nuit, Hadit, and Rahor Kuit, which is nothing more than Isis, Osiris, and Horus. Crowley described these deities as literary convenience. The religion is founded upon the idea that the 20th century marked the beginning of the Aeon or age of Horus, in which a new ethical code would be followed. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. This statement indicates that adherents, who are known as Thelemites, should seek out and follow their own true path in life, known as true will, rather than their egotistical desires. The philosophy also emphasizes the ritual practice of magic. In other words, this philosophy pushes the knowledge of self. Live life with no rules, with no laws, with no limits. The word Thelema is an English transliteration of the Greek noun, which means will, or from the verb, which means to will, wish, or purpose. In the New Testament, as well as the works of Plato, Thelema includes the ideas of will, choice, inclination, desire, including sexual desire, and pleasure. As Crowley developed a religion, he wrote widely on the topic, producing what are collectively termed the Holy Books of Thelema. He also included ideas from occultism, yoga, and both Eastern and Western mysticism, especially the Kabbalah.
Snake that giveth knowledge, the Spirit said, to worship me take wine and strange drugs, whereof I will tell my prophet. Falling on precisely the wrong side of the Bible's account concerning the fall of man and Satan's role, this snake spirit begins the revelation by telling man that he is a god, that reality is essentially an illusion, sin a myth, and that ethically there's no greater commandment than the law of Thelema. Greek for will, as famously stated in the 40th verse of chapter 1.
Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
We do what we want to do when we want to do it.
And just what is this core principle by which most people live? Well, in a nutshell, do what you want. Surprised? Well, Anton LaVey wasn't. He understood precisely from where this popular concept had arisen.
And he must, as a Satanist, knowing this, realizing what his human potential is, eventually, and here is one of the essential points of Satanism, attain his own Godhead in accordance with his own potential. Therefore, each man, each woman is a god or goddess in Satanism.
Big Pimpin' really, man, is living life to your fullest potential. I mean, like, whatever you want to do, when you want to do it, you do it, but in the grandest way possible, you know?
This is how you will commonly see the Scientology logo. We know that in an occult, symbolism is used by those in the know to communicate secretly in plain view. The word Scientology, Scio, meaning to know, and logos, meaning the study of, translates to knowing how to know. This is in accordance to oneself, studying to know oneself, or self-knowledge. Now take a look at how the S is stylized. There's a hidden meaning there. The S is coiled up like a serpent, and it actually represents the Egyptian god Set, who is portrayed as a serpent by the Egyptians. Set is Satan. In modern days, he's called by his Babylonian name, Molech. The Egyptians worshipped the Satan for wisdom on the left-hand side. In the Bible, when the Egyptian magi threw their staff before Moses, they turned to serpents. But the serpent of Moses, representing the power and wisdom of the Most High, ate the Egyptian serpents. To the Egyptians and to those who follow them, the serpent symbolizes total defiance against the Most High, and is linked to the serpent in the garden. See, now we understand more why the Most High said not to touch the tree of good and evil, meaning stick to the confines of his laws and do not follow the do as thou wilt philosophy of the other nations around. This is why the Lord refers to them as beasts, having neither limits nor bounds. Hence, rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft. Aleister Crowley perfected the art of witchcraft, and being an Edomite, acknowledged himself as a beast and Satan's child. And by channeling through Egyptian deities, he was able to tap into the greatest source of satanic energy. Now, L. Ron Hubbard was fascinated by Aleister Crowley's work, studied his work, and incorporated it into his own philosophies and into his own work, and would perform his own blood rituals invoking the Egyptian goddess Hathor. See, these are secrets held off to low-level Scientologists, but those who have attained stardom and Hollywood success are all aware of these practices and participate themselves in Satan worshiping and blood sacrifices to be rewarded with riches and benefits of this world. These deities, worshipped by Aleister Crowley, L. Ron Hubbard, and their followers, are the same ancient Egyptian deities which have always required blood and child sacrifices to please them, and in reward, they will return you with riches of this world. They cannot promise you life. Only the Most High, the God of the Bible, can give you life. And so those men and all their followers have died, laid in the dust, and all their gains that they made in this world were left behind. And they are now standing in front of the judgment seat of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.